Tonight we begin with one of the oldest arts on earth, the art of not being seen. All around you, living things are practicing the craft of vanishing. Camouflage is simply this, a way of avoiding notice, of blending so fully into a place that the eye slides past and finds nothing worth pausing on. Sometimes it means disappearing altogether, matching the color of bark or sand. Other times it means being seen, yet seen as something else entirely, something not worth a second glance. Two purposes shape this hidden game. One creature hides to keep from being eaten. Another hides to draw close unseen to the meal it hopes to catch. For the hunted, invisibility is safety. To go unnoticed is to survive another day, to rest in the open while danger passes by, none the wiser. For the hunter, the same skill becomes a slow approach. Stillness and disguise let it close the distance until the moment to move finally arrives. You find these hiders in every corner of the living world, on coral reefs and open plains, in tangled forests and across bright fields of snow. Down among the reefs, colors and shapes dissolve into the coral itself, so that a fish or an octopus becomes indistinguishable from the rock it rests against. Up on the snowfield, a coat of white erases an animal against the glare, leaving only faint shadows where a body should be, and often not even those. There is nowhere too harsh for this craft to reach. Desert, deep sea, meadow, and mountain each hold their own quiet experts in the art of disappearing. Evolution has been refining these tricks for a very long time, longer than we can easily imagine, shaping fur and feather and scale toward the goal of concealment. It is a game with no announcement and no fanfare, only the slow, sure advantage of the unnoticed passed down through countless generations of the barely visible. Every hider you will meet in the nights ahead earned its disguise slowly, through ancestors who happened to blend a little better and so lived to pass it on. Some wear the colors of their surroundings. Some copy the shape of a leaf or a twig. Some break their own outline into pieces the eye cannot assemble. A few take a bolder path, pretending to be something dangerous or foul, wearing a false warning that keeps hungry mouths politely and safely away. Think how many creatures may be near you now, resting motionless, trusting their disguise, waiting out the dark hours exactly as you are about to do. In the chapters to come, we will lift the veil on these vanishing acts one by one, meeting the leaf that walks and the moth that becomes bark. For now, let the thought settle over you like dusk over a meadow. Everywhere, unseen, the world is quietly practicing the art of being safely, restfully hidden. The simplest way to vanish is to echo whatever lies around you. When an animal wears the colors of its home, the searching eye finds only more of the same. Scientists call this crypsis, or background matching. A creature's skin or scales or wings repeat the shades and shapes of its surroundings until the outline of a living thing does. Picture a grasshopper in summer, its body the fresh green of the grass it rests upon. Every blade around it says green, and so the grasshopper simply agrees. As the season turns and the meadow dries, other grasshoppers wear tawny brown instead, matching the withered stems. Each kind, dressed for its own backdrop, keeps its secret either way. A toad crouched at the water's edge is often the very color of mud, a mottled brown that pools with the shadows. You could look right past it and never know. On the trunk of an old tree, a resting moth may be the exact shade of bark, its patterned wings tracing the cracks and lichen. Stillness completes what color begins. The magic lies in the closeness of the match. The nearer an animal's pattern comes to one particular scene, the safer it becomes, and the longer it lives to pass that likeness on. Because a perfect fit rewards its owner, evolution nudges many creatures toward a single home. Over countless lifetimes, a species settles into the look of one meadow, one shore, one weathered branch. Consider how specific this can grow. A moth that rests on pale birch tends toward pale wings, while a cousin on darker bark leans darker, each tuned to the place it favors. The cost of belonging to one background is that it must stay there. A bark-colored moth on green leaves would glow like a lantern, so it keeps to the trunks it resembles. This is why the meadow and the forest hold so many hidden lives you rarely glimpse. Each one has slowly become its own small corner of the world. Trust runs through it, an animal laying its safety upon sameness, believing that to look like nothing is to be left alone. Often that belief holds true. The predator's eye is built to notice edges, contrast, the break in a pattern. Background matching offers none of those, presenting instead an unbroken field with nothing to catch upon. Even the light plays along. A creature the color of shade sinks deeper into shade, and one, the tone of sunlit sand, seems to melt into the warmth of the ground. Think of how many eyes have passed over a mud-brown toad and moved on, reading only riverbank to be overlooked. Again and again is its quiet form of shelter. There is comfort in this ancient arrangement, a body and its background agreeing to become one thing. The animal need not run or fight, only rest and resemble. So the green grasshopper waits in the green, the brown one in the brown, the moth against the bark, each held safe by the simple grace of belonging where it is. As you settle now, imagine that ease of blending in, of being unremarked and unafraid, wrapped in the color of your own quiet place, drifting toward the rest that waits. Tonight we turn to an old riddle of light. Look closely at a deer, a shark, a penguin, and you find the same secret painted across their backs and bellies. Their upper side is darker, the underside pale. This simple arrangement, worn by countless creatures, has a name that sounds like a spell, countershading, the art of undoing a shadow. To understand it, think first about how light behaves in the open world. Sunlight and skylight nearly always arrive from above, pouring down over the top of every living thing. A rounded body lit from overhead catches brightness along its spine and falls into shadow beneath. That gradient of light to dark is exactly how your eye reads solidness and depth. So a creature colored the same shade everywhere would glow on top and darken below, its round form advertised plainly, its edges betraying a body worth a hunter's notice. Countershading answers this problem with a reversal painted onto the skin. The back is deepened, the belly lightened, and the two opposing tones meet the falling light halfway. Where sun brightens the dark upper surface, the animal's own pigment holds it back. Where shadow pools beneath, the pale belly lifts it, and the difference is smoothed away. The effect is a subtle erasure. A body that should look rounded and full instead reads as flat and evenly lit, dissolving into the background behind it. You can watch this on a shark cutting through open water. From below it fades pale into bright surface glare, from above its dark back sinks into the deep. The same trick clothes a herring, a mackerel, 1,000 fish besides, each with a shaded top and a silvered belly, each harder to fix against the shifting sea. A penguin carries the same design, dark along the back and white beneath, so predator and prey alike struggle to trace its outline through the pale-lit water overhead. On land, the deer wears a muted version, warm above and lighter below, its shape flattening into the dappled woods when it holds itself still among the trees. For a long while, no one had a name for why so many unrelated animals shared this pattern. It seemed a coincidence written across ocean, forest, and ice. The explanation came from an unexpected mind. Abbot Thayer, an American painter with a keen eye for how light lands on form and where a shadow chooses to sit. Thayer understood shading the way artists must, having spent years making flat canvas seem round. He simply read nature's brushwork in reverse and saw the shadow being cancelled. What a painter adds to conjure a solid shape, he realized, an animal can quietly subtract, using its own coloring to unmake the very roundness its body would otherwise reveal to a watcher. There is something restful in the very thought of it. The creature need not move or flee. The light itself does the concealing, and stillness alone lets the trick complete. So as the day's brightness fades, imagine all those quiet bodies flattening into their worlds, edges softened by nothing more than a shadow gently undone, and let yourself settle too. Not every hidden creature melts into its surroundings. Some do the opposite, wearing bold bands and vivid patches a hunter's eye can hardly miss, yet somehow still cannot resolve into a body. This is the trick of disruptive coloration. Instead of matching the background, an animal breaks itself apart, letting high contrast marks shatter its own outline into pieces that refuse to add up. A predator's eye searches for a shape, a continuous edge where creature meets world. Bold stripes cut across that edge, and the searching gaze slides past, finding no whole animal to seize. Think of how a border defines a thing. Erase it or draw false borders inside the body, and the mind loses the thread, unable to say where the living form truly ends. Strong markings work by seizing attention on purpose. The eye is pulled toward a vivid band or a dark blotch, mistaking that inner line for the true rim of the body. Look at a leopard resting in dappled light. Its rosettes are not hiding spots so much as false edges, scattering the smooth curve of muscle into a puzzle no glance easily assembles. The tiger carries this idea in long vertical bars. Against grass and broken shade, those stripes fracture a large, heavy body into ribbons, and the whole shape seems to come undone. Many frogs wear the same secret. A bright stroke of color running down the flank draws a line the eye follows, leading it away from the real curve of the crouching form. Snakes offer some of the boldest examples. Banded and blotched patterns ring the body so completely that a coiled serpent reads as scattered marks rather than one long, continuous, watchful creature. On a stony shore, a plover stands almost in plain view. A dark collar band crosses its breast, snapping the round outline of the bird into fragments against the pebbles. What matters is contrast, not concealment. The starker the difference between neighboring patches, the harder the brain works to bind them, and the more the true silhouette dissolves into confusion. The markings that fall along the body's edge do the heaviest lifting. Where a shape would betray itself, a bold patch straddling the rim erases the boundary and offers a false one instead. It helps that a hunting eye is built to find outlines first. Disruptive patterns exploit that very habit, feeding the searcher edges that lead nowhere and lines that belong to nothing whole. Movement can undo the illusion, so stillness is its ally. Held motionless among stones or reeds, the broken creature stays a scatter of shapes, never resolving into the prey a predator seeks. Notice how these bold patterns often pair with a background of clutter. Grass, gravel, dappled shade, and tangled shadow all give the false edges somewhere to hide among real ones. The same body can hold two tricks at once. Some marks break the outline while others echo the tones around it, so shape and color both work to keep the whole thing unseen. There is a quiet paradox in this, that safety can come from being boldly visible yet impossible to piece together, present to the eye and absent to the mind at the very same moment. So as the shore dims and the grass folds into shadow, all those broken shapes stay hidden in open view, waiting without worry, resting easy in a world that cannot quite find them. There is a story you have heard since childhood, that a chameleon becomes whatever it touches, melting into leaf and bark. The truth is stranger and somehow more wonderful than the tale. For all its fame as a master of disguise, the chameleon rarely changes color to vanish against a background. Hiding, it turns out, is not the real reason behind that shifting skin. When morning light finds a cool chameleon on a branch, it may darken its flanks to a deep, drinking shade, gathering warmth from the sun the way dark cloth soaks up heat. As the day grows warm and the small body has taken its fill of light, it can pale again, turning lighter shades away, keeping itself from overheating on the sunlit bough. So the first secret is temperature, a living dial between shadow and brightness. The chameleon reads the warmth of the world and answers it with the color of its own skin. The second secret is feeling. A chameleon in a bright mood, meeting a rival or a possible mate, can flare into vivid stripes and blazing hues that speak without a single sound. These colors are a language of the moment. Anger, courtship, submission, alarm, all of it can ripple across the skin, a message painted and erased faster than any spoken word. A male facing another may burn into fierce yellows and greens, a warning worn openly. The loser often answers by fading to dull, dark tones, quietly conceding the contest between them. Now consider how the color itself is made, for this is the true marvel. It is not paint nor dye nor pigment poured into the skin, but something built from light. Beneath the surface lie special cells holding tiny crystals, arranged in orderly rows like beads on invisible threads, spaced so precisely they can catch and scatter particular colors of light. When the chameleon relaxes, those crystals sit close together, and the tightly packed layers throw back cool blues and greens, dressing the animal in the restful shades of its calm hours. When it grows excited, the skin stretches those same crystals farther apart, and the wider spacing sends back warmer light, yellows and oranges flooding across the body like sudden sunrise. This is called structural color, hue born not from substance but from architecture, from the exact distance between one crystal and the next bending light into the shades you see. A butterfly's wing and a bird's blue feather share this trick, coloring themselves with structure rather than pigment. The chameleon simply learned to move the structure, tuning its glow at will. Think of it as a shimmering fabric the animal can loosen or draw tight, each small adjustment shifting the color that returns to the watching eye, alive and endlessly rearranged. So the old myth gently falls away. The chameleon is not a hider pretending to be a leaf, but a creature wearing its warmth and its heart openly upon its skin. And yet there is stillness here too, in an animal that speaks and warms itself without hurry, resting on its branch, letting light do the work that other creatures do with noise. Let that image stay with you as you settle now. A small painted body at ease in the trees, its colors slowly cooling toward blue, drawing you along toward rest. Beneath the waves live the true masters of disappearing, the cephalopods, whose bodies read the world around them and rewrite themselves to belong to it completely, moment by moment. An octopus flowing over a reef becomes the reef itself, its color shifting, its skin roughening into bumps and ridges until the animal and the coral share one surface. Think of the skin as a living canvas, painted from beneath by thousands of tiny pigment sacs that open and close, letting new hues bloom across the body in an instant. What astonishes biologists most is the speed of it, for a cephalopod can remake its entire appearance in under a second, faster than you could name the color it wore before. The cuttlefish earns a fond nickname among divers, the chameleon of the sea, though its transformations outpace any chameleon, cascading over its skin like weather crossing a landscape. Ripples of color roll along a cuttlefish as it hovers above the seabed, and within a breath it has settled into sand, into shadow, into whatever texture lies below. Color alone would not be enough to vanish, so these animals also sculpt their skin, raising fleshy spikes and folds that mimic the very grain of rock or weed. A squid drifting through open water carries countless color cells, and by tightening or relaxing muscles around each one, it tunes its shade to the light pouring from above. Here lies the deepest riddle of all. For most cephalopods are, as far as we can tell, very likely colorblind, unable to see the very hues their bodies match so faithfully. How a colorblind creature paints itself into perfect agreement with its surroundings remains one of the ocean's quiet puzzles, studied closely yet still holding something back from us. One idea is that their skin may sense light directly, that the surface itself reads brightness and color, so the whole body helps decide what shade to become. Beyond color and texture, an octopus can pour its boneless body into new shapes, drawing arms close, arching its mantle, becoming a stone, a shell, a scrap of nothing. Watch one settle onto rubble, and it seems to melt, edges softening, outline dissolving, until the eye slides past it entirely and finds only the seafloor looking back. Some cuttlefish flatten themselves against the bottom and let broad dark bands wash across their skin, breaking their shape so no clear creature remains for a predator to fix upon. The transformation costs them little effort and no sound, a change worn like a passing thought, here, and then gently gone before anything nearby has noticed the shift. Even hunting, a cuttlefish may hold its disguise until the final instant, easing toward a shrimp as a piece of reef that has somehow impossibly begun to move. In these animals, camouflage becomes something close to language, a body that speaks in color and form, saying to the whole sea, "There is nothing here worth seeing." So let the ocean hold them, these living canvases fading into coral and sand, unseen and untroubled, while you too let the day blur softly at its edges and rest. Zoom in now on that shifting skin, close enough to see how a cuttlefish or octopus works its changes, tiny point of color by tiny point of color. Across that skin lie thousands of tiny sacs of pigment, each one a chromatophore, a living speck of color waiting for the muscles around it to decide. Picture each sac ringed by threads of muscle, like fingers around a balloon, ready to pull it wide and reveal the warm color folded inside. When those muscles tighten and stretch the sac open, its pigment spreads into a broad disc, and a dot of red or yellow blooms upon the surface. Let the muscles ease, and the sac shrinks back to a pinprick, its color pinched away until the skin above forgets it was ever there. In this way, each chromatophore behaves like a single pixel, switching between showing and hiding, one small point of color on a screen made of the animal itself. Gather enough of these living pixels together, thousands upon thousands, and whole patterns can ripple across the body, expanding and fading in graceful waves. The colors held within run through browns and reds, oranges and yellows, a modest palette that becomes endlessly rich once the pixels learn to work as one. Below this shifting layer rests another world of cells, mirrors of a kind that catch the surrounding light and lend the skin a deeper glow. These are the iridophores, stacked plates so fine they bend light into blues and greens, shimmering hues no pigment sac could ever hold on its own. Deeper again lie leucophores, scattering cells that gather whatever light arrives and give it back as soft white, a quiet backdrop for the colors above. Together, these reflecting layers act as a canvas beneath the paint, brightening the pigments, cooling them, and adding a metallic sheen that seems to breathe. So the finished look is layered work, pigment pixels on top choosing the hue, reflectors beneath choosing the shine, all sensed and adjusted moment by moment. What astonishes most is the speed, for these changes need no waiting. Nerves reach each tiny muscle directly, and the skin answers almost as fast as thought. The animal reads its world and repaints to match it, dissolving into coral, sand, or shadow, a portrait drawn and erased upon its own body. No brush touches this canvas. No hand mixes these colors. The octopus is at once the painter, the paint, and the surface being painted. Consider that such artistry serves a humble wish, simply to go unseen, to become the reef itself and slip beyond the notice of hungry eyes. And so the living screen keeps shifting through its colors long after we look away, a quiet painting that never quite settles, easing gently onward into rest. Not every color in the living world is painted on. Some of the brightest hues carry no dye at all, arising instead from the way light meets a surface. Picture a soap bubble catching the window light, its skin swirling with color, though the film itself is clear. That shimmer is structure, not pigment at play. Pigments work by absorbing certain wavelengths and letting the rest reflect back to your eye. Structural color works differently, sculpting light with shape rather than swallowing it. Along a wing or a shell lie ridges and layers far too small to see, spaced at roughly the width of a single wave of light. When light strikes these tiny tears, it bounces from each layer and the reflections overlap. Some wavelengths reinforce and blaze outward while others simply cancel away. This is why a peacock feather can flash blue and green, then dim to brown as you turn it. The pigment barely changed, the angle of the light did. Here is a secret hidden in plain sight. Almost every blue you meet in nature is built this way. True blue pigment is remarkably rare among living things. The sky of a bluebird, the flash of a kingfisher, the wing of a jay, none hold blue paint. Each scatters and bends the light into blue. Consider the morpho butterfly of the rainforest, whose wings burn a brilliant electric blue, ground its scales to powder, and the color vanishes, for it lived only in their shape. Under a microscope, a morphoscale reveals rows of branching ridges, like rows of tiny trees. These layered shelves are what conjure that impossible, glowing blue. Many beetles wear the same trick, their backs gleaming metallic green or bronze. The sheen shifts as they move, a coat of light stitched from architecture alone. Because this color rides on structure, it can burn far brighter than any pigment could manage. The light is not swallowed as pigment would, it is reflected back almost whole. Structure also lets a creature change its message without remaking its body. A slight tilt, a new angle, and the same wing turns from vivid signal to muted shadow. For a beetle resting on a leaf, that shifting sheen can help it blend among dappled highlights, its outline dissolving into the flicker of a sunlit canopy. Yet the very same principle serves display. When a suitor must be seen, structural color offers a flash brighter than the surrounding green could ever hope to match. Some animals can even veil this brilliance, folding scales or shifting posture, so the color seems to switch off, leaving them plain and unnoticed among the leaves. So a single surface holds two lives at once, a beacon and a hiding place, depending only on how the light happens to fall across it. Let that settle as you rest. Color woven from nothing but shape and light, glowing without a drop of paint, waiting for the next ray to wake it again. Somewhere in the branches above you, a twig is breathing. It is not a twig at all, but a stick insect wearing the forest so completely that the eye slides right past it. Its body has become a slender stem, brown or green, ridged and knobbed exactly where a real branch would carry its buds and the small scars of fallen leaves. The texture of bark is written into its skin, every roughness and pale fleck copied, so that even up close it reads as wood rather than something alive and watching. When a breeze moves through the canopy, the insect leans and rocks along with it, matching the branches so the illusion never breaks, its stillness folding into the tree's own swaying. Some hold their thin legs stretched out in a straight line, becoming a longer twig, erasing the shape a hunting bird has learned to search for among the leaves. To be a twig is a full disguise worn day and night, and its safety rests entirely on holding that shape while the forest passes by unbothered. Nearby, a different mimic hangs among the greenery, its body flattened and broadened until it is no longer insect-shaped but leaf-shaped, wide and thin as a living blade of foliage. This is the leaf insect, and across its back run false veins, raised ridges branching just as they would on any true leaf reaching for the light. Look closely at the edges of that body, and you find them notched and ragged, as though a caterpillar had nibbled there, a flaw shaped into it that only makes it seem more real. The color shifts with the season and the species, fresh green like new growth, or the mottled brown of a leaf beginning to curl and fade toward autumn. As it walks, the leaf insect sways with each step, a small rocking motion that mimics a single leaf stirred loose and trembling on the passing air. That swaying is not clumsiness but craft, a movement that makes stillness believable, telling any watching eye that here is only foliage answering the wind. Both insects have traded speed for invisibility, built to vanish rather than flee, their whole survival built on being overlooked by the sharp eyes around them. Their disguise reaches even to the eggs, which in many species resemble tiny seeds scattered on the forest floor to wait unnoticed among the fallen and the ordinary. A predator hunts by searching for the wrong shape, the tell of legs or wings, and these mimics simply refuse to offer it, presenting only branch and leaf. There's a deep restfulness in this, a creature that survives by keeping perfectly composed, letting the world move on while it holds its borrowed shape without hurry. To hide this well is to belong to the forest utterly, to be indistinguishable from the tree that shelters you, held safe by resemblance alone. So the twigs keep breathing and the leaves keep swaying, unseen among the branches, and you can let your own thoughts settle into that same unhurried, hidden ease. Somewhere in the green shade of afternoon, a small creature has become a leaf. It rests without moving, edged into the pattern of the branch as though it were always part of it. The forest breathes around it, warm and unhurried. Light shifts through the canopy in slow coins of gold, sliding over the shape that no eye seems to find. Its body matches the leaves so closely that shadow and skin have agreed to be the same thing. Where the creature ends and the branch begins, no one can quite say. Nothing about it moves, not a limb, not a lifted head, only the faint rise of breathing so slight the air hardly notices it is being shared. A breeze passes through, and the whole tree stirs. The creature sways too in perfect time, so its stillness hides inside the motion of everything else. To hold this pose is a kind of trust in the world. Safety is not in running here, but in becoming nothing worth chasing. Insects thread the sunlight nearby, tracing lazy circles. They pass close, brush the leaf edges, and never once suspect that one of those leaves is quietly alive. The minutes stretch long and shapeless. Time in the canopy is measured not in hours, but in the slow travel of a single warm patch of light. A bird arrives on a neighboring branch, bright-eyed and searching, tilting its head at every twitch. It scans the leaves once, then twice, and finds only leaves. It hops closer, so near you could count its feathers, its small heart drumming with hunger. The hidden one does not flinch, and the moment holds like a breath. Then the bird lifts away, satisfied there is nothing here, carrying its search to another tree. The danger passes as weather passes, felt and then gone. And still the creature waits, letting the closeness fade before it trusts the peace again. Waiting like this is woven deep into the body, quieter than fear. The forest resumes its murmur, a distant call, the tick of a settling twig, the endless whisper of leaves rubbing leaves in the moving air. There is a deep ease in being unseen, in asking nothing of the world and being asked nothing back. To go unfound like this is its own kind of rest. The sun leans lower now, and the gold turns amber across the bark. Warmth pools along the branch where the creature has spent its whole unmoving day. Every predator that might have come has come and gone, seeing only foliage. The art of hiding has done its work, simply by holding to stillness. Slowly the shade deepens, and the shapes of the canopy soften into one another. The line between leaf and living thing blurs further as the light withdraws. Held safe within the green, the creature settles deeper into its stillness, and the forest holds it there, unhurried, keeping its small secret as the evening comes on. On the ocean floor, some creatures neither flee nor fight when danger passes near. They simply become the seabed itself, waiting where the water thickens and the light grows dim. Consider the stonefish resting low among the scattered rubble. Its lumpy, mottled skin looks so much like an encrusted rock that even the sharpest eyes glide past without pausing. Algae and fine sediments settle across its broad back, and the fish lets them stay. That living crust deepens the disguise until stone and creature slowly become a single shape. It waits without moving, half sunk into the sand and gravel of the bottom. To anything swimming near, there is only seabed here, and seabed holds no reason for alarm. The scorpion fish wears a similar secret across its body. Frilled and ragged along its edges, it dissolves against coral and broken reef, its outline lost in the tangle of texture. Fleshy tabs and drifting tassels break up its shape where fin meets water. Where you expect a fish, your eye finds only more reef, more shadow, more patterned stillness. Nothing about the scorpion fish ever hurries. It settles onto a ledge and holds that pose for long stretches of time, trusting sameness to keep it unseen among the coral heads. Then there is the frogfish, perhaps the strangest of all these seafloor hiders. Round and stalk-legged, it perches like a lumpy sponge or a clump of weed upon the rock. Its colors can shift over days to match whatever reef surrounds it, so a frogfish resting on a yellow sponge will slowly ripen into that same warm and glowing hue. Small prawn-like legs and stubby fins let it clamber over the bottom rather than swim. It climbs into place, arranges itself, and becomes yet another lump of the encrusted seabed. What binds these three creatures together is a shared and unhurried strategy. Hold perfectly motionless upon the floor and let the hungry world come to you rather than chasing after it. Movement is the very thing that eyes are built to catch. By refusing to move at all, Each hider erases the one signal that would betray a living thing among the stones. So they wait as the reef breathes around them, fins folded close, gills barely stirring the water, spending almost nothing of themselves while the current carries small fish steadily nearer. A shrimp or a passing fish wanders close, reading only rock and weed and shadow. It has no way to know the rock is watching, is measuring, is coiled and ready to strike. The trap here is the disguise itself, laid across the seafloor and left to ripen slowly with time. In this place, stillness and camouflage fold together into a single act of hiding. Something calm settles over it. This old art of hiding by holding still. No chase, no struggle, only a shape that has agreed to be scenery on the floor. For these hunters, hiding and hunting have become the very same thing entirely. To disappear completely is to eat, and to wait is simply the way these still hunters have come to live. So the seafloor keeps its secrets, rock beside rock, some of them softly alive and breathing. Sink down there with them now, unhurried, held within the deep waters. Down where the daylight thins to a pale blue haze, a flounder drifts toward the seabed and settles, ready to become part of the ground it rests upon. As the flatfish touches down, its skin begins a slow negotiation with the floor beneath it, reading the sand or gravel and answering with a matching pattern of its own. Specialized cells across its body expand and contract, shifting the freckled tones of the fish until it echoes the speckle of the sediment it has chosen for a bed. Over pale sand, the flounder pales; above darker mud, it deepens, tuning its coloring to whatever surface holds it, like a listener matching the mood of a room. Scientists have laid these fish over gravel of many sizes and watched them adjust, coarsening or fining their spots to suit the grain scattered below. In one striking test, a flatfish placed on a checkerboard floor tried its best to approximate the squares, breaking its skin into blocks of light and shadow. It never copies perfectly, of course, yet the attempt reveals how closely this creature watches its world, translating what its eyes see into what its skin wears. The eyes matter here in a most unusual way, for both of them ride on the same upward-facing side of the flattened body. A young flounder begins life swimming upright, like any ordinary fish, one eye on each side of a slender symmetrical form. Then, as it matures, one eye slowly journeys across the skull to join its partner, so the grown fish can lie flat and still look upward. Pressed against the floor with both eyes turned toward the water above, the flatfish keeps a steady watch while its underside rests unseen against the grains. To vanish more completely, it flutters its fins and stirs the loose sediment, letting a fine veil of sand drift over its outer edges. Grain by grain, the outline softens until the border between fish and floor blurs and the seabed appears unbroken to any passing eye. What remains is a shape that scarcely seems to be there, breathing slowly beneath a dusting of the very ground it imitates. Something restful lives in this way of being, choosing a patch of floor and belonging to it so thoroughly that you disappear. The flounder asks nothing of the open water, no chase and no flight, only the simple safety of lying flat and matching what is near. Predators glide past, their shadows sweeping the sand, and find only more sand, the hidden fish holding its shape against the seabed unnoticed. So it stays folded into the floor of the sea, watchful and unhurried, waiting in the hush of the deep for the slow turning of the tide. As the year turns toward cold, certain northern animals begin a slow transformation, trading their brown summer coats for a covering of white that will match the coming snow. The Arctic hare is one of them, its fur shifting from the gray-brown of tundra rock to a deep white that lets it vanish against drifts. Ptarmigan, plump birds of the far north, exchange their mottled summer plumage for feathers of pure white, even growing them along their toes like feathered snowshoes. The stoat performs its own quiet change, its warm brown back fading to white while only the black tip of its tail remains, a small dark comma on the snow. And the Arctic fox, russet and gray through the brief summer, wraps itself in thick winter white, a coat so dense it can rest on ice without shivering. You might think the cold itself commands this change, that a sharp frost tells each creature to turn pale. The truth is stranger and more precise than that. It is light, not temperature, that carries the message. As autumn days grow shorter, the shrinking hours of daylight signal the body to begin trading brown for white. Deep in each animal, an inner clock reads the length of the day, measuring the slow retreat of the sun toward the horizon and preparing the coat to come. When spring returns and daylight lengthens again, the same signal reverses. The white fades, brown grows back, and the animal melts once more into bare summer ground. This is why the timing feels so certain, so tied to the calendar rather than the weather. Daylight arrives on schedule, year after year, and the coat follows. For countless winters this arrangement held perfectly, the white appearing just as the first snows settled, each creature disappearing into a world turned the same color as itself. There is something restful in that idea, a body that knows the season by the sky alone, changing without effort, without worry, simply because the days have grown short. Imagine the ptarmigan settled among the drifts, white on white, its dark eye the only thing to give it away, breathing evenly beneath a sky heavy with cold. Yet the world is warming now, and in many places the snow arrives later than it once did, leaving the ground brown well past the old first frost. So an animal following the light may turn white while the land is still dark and bare, standing out sharply where it once would have disappeared completely. Scientists call this a mismatch, a creature dressed for a winter that has not yet come, its ancient timing slipping out of step with a changing season. The clock inside is honest. It reads the sun exactly as it always has. It is the snow that now keeps its own uncertain wandering schedule. For now, though, let the hare rest white against the drifts, and let the sky keep its steady count of the hours, easing you toward your own long night. Imagine a moth resting against the bark of an old tree, its pale wings speckled with gray, matching the crust of lichen so closely that a passing bird sees only weathered bark. For a long time, this was the peppered moth's whole art of hiding, a mottled coat that turned a moth into a patch of pale weathered wood. Birds hunt these moths by sight, plucking from the bark whatever they can see. A moth that blends in gets to live another day, and the trees stay full of the well-hidden. Then came the smoke. As factories rose across Britain, coal soot settled over everything, darkening trunks and killing the pale lichen the moths had leaned on for cover. On that blackened bark, a speckled pale moth no longer vanished. It stood out like a chalk mark, easy for a passing bird to notice and take. But nature had already tucked away another form now and then. A peppered moth is born dark, almost sooty black, a rare variation waiting quietly for its moment. On clean lichen, those dark ones were the ones that stood out and got eaten. They stayed uncommon, kept few by the very birds that shaped the whole population. When the world turned grimy, the odds flipped. The dark moths melted into the soot-stained trunks, while their pale cousins became the visible ones, the easy meal. So more dark moths survived to lay eggs, passing along whatever made them dark. More of their young were born dark too, and the balance of the whole species began to tip. Within decades, in the smokiest cities, the once rare black form had become the common one. A moth had changed its clothing to match a world remade by human hands. Nobody designed this. No single moth chose to darken. The trees simply grew dim, birds ate what they could see, and the survivors handed down their coloring. This is natural selection laid bare, unfolding not across unimaginable ages, but within the span of a human life, slow enough to feel calm, quick enough to witness. Then the story turned again. Clean air laws arrived, chimneys grew tidier, and the soot that had coated the bark for generations began at last to lift away. Lichen crept back onto the trunks, and the wood paled once more. Now it was the dark moths that showed against a lightening background, caught out by the change. Slowly the advantage returned to the speckled form. The pale moths blended again, survived again, and multiplied as the black ones faded back toward being rare. Scientists watched both swings happen, counting moths on trees across the years. Few stories show selection so plainly, a living needle drifting with the color of the sky. It holds a slow grace, the way a whole species answers its surroundings without haste, without struggle, simply by which quiet forms are left to carry on. So the moths rest on the bark tonight, pale or dark as the world asks of them, hidden and safe, waiting for whatever the changing air will gently bring next. Out in the open water, there is nowhere to slip behind, no rock or leaf to shelter a small body, so certain animals vanish another way entirely by becoming see-through. Imagine a creature so clear that light passes straight through it, carrying almost no shadow, no outline for a hungry eye to catch. To be transparent is to be nearly absent. The glass-winged butterfly wears wings you can read a page through. Its scales are sparse and tiny, so light slips past instead of bouncing back as color. Where most butterfly wings blaze with pigment, the glass wing keeps clear panes edged in a thin, dark frame. A hunter's gaze passes over it and finds only the forest beyond. In the rainforests of Central America, this living pane of glass flutters between leaves, its body a faint smudge, its wings dissolving whatever they cross in front of. Deep in tropical streams live the glass frogs, whose undersides are so translucent you can watch the heart beating within. Their organs lie visible beneath a window of skin. Seen from below, a glass frog's clear belly lets the pale light of the sky show through, softening the small dark shapes inside so a predator sees very little. The frog's green back matches the leaf it rests upon, while its transparent edges blur the line where animal ends and leaf begins. Two disguises worn as one. Nowhere is transparency more common than the ocean, where there are no burrows, no bark, no shadowed corners. An open sea rewards the animal that light forgets. Countless drifting larvae, the tiny young of crabs and fish and snails, are made of clear tissue. They hang in the current as faint glints, easy for the eye to miss. Many jellyfish are little more than living water held in a delicate bell. Their bodies contain so few solid parts that sunlight travels through them almost undimmed. As a jellyfish pulses through the blue, it casts scarcely a silhouette. What isn't there cannot be hunted, and much of a jellyfish is simply not there. The comb jellies take clarity further still, their glassy bodies rippling with rows of tiny beating combs. Only these paddles betray them, breaking light into faint moving rainbows. Those shimmering ribbons of color are not pigment at all. Sunlight split by the fine structure of the combs. The shimmer is brightest as the paddles beat, dimming when the comb jelly grows still. Transparency is a costly art, for a body must give up shine and pigment, keeping tissue so ordered that light passes cleanly without scattering into a telltale glow. Yet where hiding places are scarce, this trick pays richly. A see-through animal need not race or armor itself. It simply lets the eye slide past and travel on. Consider how much of the drifting sea is built this way, a hidden multitude of clear larvae and jellies filling water that looks to us entirely empty. So the ocean keeps its glass animals close, unseen and unhurried in the pale blue light, and you may let your own thoughts grow clear and settle toward rest. Far below the surface, sunlight thins to a pale wash that only reaches so deep, whatever swims above you becomes a dark shape against that faint downwelling glow. A hunter waiting beneath its prey looks upward and reads the water like a lit ceiling. Any solid body passing over throws a telltale silhouette across the brightness. To vanish in such a place, an animal cannot simply darken or blend against the open sea. It must somehow answer the light pressing down from far above. The trick is astonishing in its logic. Rather than block the glow, you replace it. You erase your own shadow by shining just enough to fill it back in. Many squid carry rows of tiny lights along their bellies, organs that produce a living glimmer. These face downward, aimed at the eyes that might be searching below. The lanternfish, small and abundant through the middle depths, wears its own glow upon its underside. That faint radiance is not for display but for disappearance. When the light beneath matches the light above, the outline dissolves. A watcher looking up sees only more dim water where a body should have blocked the view. This is counter-illumination, and it turns an animal into a window rather than a wall. The sea seems to pass straight through where a creature actually swims. The glow must be tuned with care, neither too bright nor too dim for the moment. Match the downwelling light exactly, and your shape simply melts from notice. As the surface brightens or dims through the hours, the water below shifts in tone. A hiding animal answers by adjusting its own light to keep pace above. Some squids sense the light overhead and turn their bellies up or down to suit it. They read the ceiling of the sea and reply in kind. The color matters as much as the brightness. For deep water favors a particular blue. Their light leans toward that same hue, so nothing betrays the match. Imagine hanging weightless in the twilight zone, glowing faintly downward while darkness gathers around your back. You shine not to be seen, but to be missed entirely. It is a strange kind of hiding, one that asks an animal to make light rather than shun it. Concealment here is an act of gentle radiance. Whole layers of the ocean drift upward each night and sink again by day, glimmering as they go. Countless small lights rise and fall with the changing sky. The energy for this glow often comes from the animal itself, chemistry folded into living tissue. A cool light kindles without heat, steady enough to hold a shape unseen. There is something restful in a creature that survives by being overlooked, by matching the world so closely it seems absent. Safety here is simply going unnoticed. So the deep keeps its quiet company of lantern-bellied travelers, each one glowing itself invisible. Let that thought carry you downward now into an easy and untroubled dark. There's another way to escape a searching eye, one that asks nothing of the background at all. Instead of vanishing into a scene, a creature becomes something else entirely. This is mimicry, an art distinct from blending in where camouflage erases an outline. Mimicry redraws it, borrowing the shape of an object the world has already learned to overlook. The eye is not defeated by absence here, but by resemblance. It finds an animal, examines it closely, and mistakes it for a thing that could never be prey. Consider how much the mind trusts a familiar form. A twig is dismissed the instant it is named, and that easy naming becomes the pretender's safest hiding place. So a body learns to answer a passing glance with a lie. It offers the shape of bark, of leaf, of stem, and the watcher moves on, satisfied. The disguise works because a predator reads the world in shortcuts, sorting each shape it meets into food and not food. Mimicry slips into the second pile and rests there, unbothered and safe. To wear the look of a twig is to inherit its dullness in the mind of the beholder. What seems dead and woody earns no second thought, no lunge. A leaf that walks, a thorn that breathes, a stem with a heartbeat within it. Each is a living thing dressed in the borrowed stillness of the inanimate. Some pretenders reach past the harmless and toward the fearsome instead. They copy the colors of a creature that stings or bites and borrow its warning as their own. In that bolder disguise, the message is not "I am nothing," but rather "Beware of me." The bluff wears bright bands it does not need to back up. What unites these tricksters is a single idea that seeming is safer than being. To look like something else can spare a body the trouble of a fight. Mimicry, then, is less about place than about identity. A camouflaged animal belongs to its surroundings, while a mimic belongs to a story told about a different thing. The resemblance need not be perfect to succeed. A rough likeness glimpsed in poor light or from the corner of an eye is often more than enough to pass. Evolution shapes these costumes across countless small generations, favoring each pretender whose lie held together long enough to let it live and leave a new generation of young behind it. You might walk past 100 such deceptions in a single afternoon and never once suspect a one of them. The thorn you ignore, the bark you brush, may quietly watch you go. There is an odd reassurance in this hidden world of harmless fakery, where survival hangs not on speed or strength or teeth, but on the simple, unremarkable grace of being misread. In the passages ahead, the kinds of pretenders will part into their own quiet families, each borrowing a different shape, each fooling the eye in its own way. For now, let the idea settle over you as evening does, that a creature can be saved by seeming other than it is, and rest in that soft deception. Not every warning is honest. Some creatures survive by wearing a threat they do not own, borrowing the fearsome reputation of something dangerous while carrying no danger themselves. Nature calls this trick Bayesian mimicry, named for the traveler who first noticed harmless butterflies dressed as poisonous ones, a costume worn so well it saves a life. Consider the hoverfly banded in the very same yellow and black a wasp wears. It has no sting to give, no venom, only the look of one that does. A bird that once tasted a wasp remembers the sting for a long while. Seeing those stripes again, it turns away, and the harmless hoverfly is spared without a fight. The mimic never chose its disguise. Over countless generations, the individuals who happened to resemble the dangerous one survived a little more often and passed that likeness along. So the resemblance sharpened wing by wing, scale by scale, until the copy grew almost indistinguishable from the deadly original a hungry predator has already learned to leave alone. Some harmless snakes wear the bold rings of their venomous kin, echoing bands of red and yellow and black they could never truly back up with any poison of their own. A predator does not stop to test the difference. Uncertainty alone protects the imitator, because the cost of being wrong about a venomous bite is simply too steep. The whole trick rests on memory. Somewhere, a real wasp truly stung, a real snake truly bit, and that lesson now shelters an innocent look-alike it never met. There is a delicate balance here. If the harmless copies grow too common, predators stop believing the warning, and the borrowed protection begins to wear thin for everyone. So the mimics tend to stay rarer than their dangerous models, letting the genuine threat keep teaching the hard lesson while the imposters slip through unnoticed on its lingering reputation. It is a strange honesty in reverse, a harmless lie that works only because somewhere nearby the underlying truth is real enough to be feared and long remembered. Watch a meadow in summer light, and you may not know which striped visitor could sting and which is merely dressed for the part hovering among the flowers. The bird cannot always tell either, and that is precisely the point. In the blur of a bright wing, caution outweighs curiosity, and the mimic drifts on unharmed. Even the way a hoverfly hangs poised in the air, or a false coral snake carries its painted bands, becomes part of the borrowed armor of simply appearing dangerous to a watching eye. There is comfort in this if you think about it. A creature with no weapon at all can move through a perilous world cloaked in someone else's warning. Safety here is not strength, but pure resemblance, a quiet inheritance of shape and color that asks only to be mistaken for something dangerous and best left entirely undisturbed. So as the meadow dims and its costumed inhabitants settle, let this stay with you, the gentle idea that sometimes looking harmless is the very thing that keeps you safe and rest. Some creatures never hide by vanishing at all. They do the opposite, wearing colors that announce themselves plainly, trusting that a bold signal can become its own kind of shelter. Imagine a bee that truly stings and a wasp that truly stings, and both of them dressed in the same yellow and black bands. Their warning is shared between them. This is called Mullerian mimicry, named for a naturalist who noticed something lovely. When many well-defended animals happen to look alike, they are, without knowing it, quietly protecting one another. A young bird tasting the world learns by trying. It samples something striped and stinging, remembers the sharp lesson, and afterward gives everything with those markings a careful, respectful birth. Here is the quiet mathematics of kindness. If a dozen defended species each wore a different pattern, a predator would need a dozen separate, painful lessons before it understood them all. Instead, they converge upon a single shared costume. The lesson is learned only once, and that one memory then spreads its protection outward across every creature that bears the matching colors. Think of the yellow and black that so many stinging insects wear together. Wasps, hornets, and certain bees share those bands, and the shared uniform speaks for all of them at once. The genius is that no deception is needed here. Each wearer of the warning is genuinely armed, so the signal tells the honest truth, and honesty makes the message stronger. Somewhere warm and green, heliconius butterflies drift through the forest wearing vivid patterns of red, black, and gold, each one distasteful to the birds that might otherwise pursue them. Different heliconius species, distinct in many of their habits and ways, have arrived at strikingly similar wings. In coming to share one bright appearance, they also come to share the safety it carries. A predator moving through that forest need only learn once that these particular colors promise an unpleasant meal, and thereafter countless butterflies of many kinds pass unharmed and unbothered beneath its wary notice. There is something tender in this arrangement. The cost of teaching a predator is spread thinly across the whole community, so no single species must bear the lesson alone. Every new member that adopts the shared warning strengthens the signal for all the others. Their honesty pools together, and the pooled reputation shields each one more surely than it could shield itself. Notice how unlike ordinary camouflage this is. Rather than dissolving into leaves or bark, these creatures agree upon one recognizable face, and let that recognition do the guarding. The warning does not shout with sound. It rests in color and in memory, in the way a predator's mind holds an old ache and chooses wisely to look elsewhere. Across meadow and rainforest alike, this unspoken pact repeats itself again and again, unplanned and unwitting, shaped only by the long patience of many generations arriving over time at the very same answer. It is a reminder that survival is not always a solitary thing. Sometimes the safest path is to resemble your neighbors, to wear a truth in common, to be recognized and let be. So as the light thins and the forest settles, picture all those matching colors folding into rest, each creature safe within a warning it never faced alone, and let that shared calm carry you onward. Not all disguise is a way to vanish. Some creatures wear a friendly face on purpose, dressing themselves as something harmless or tempting to draw another life close. This is aggressive mimicry, the hunter pretending to be a gift. The prey approaches expecting a flower, a mate, a small meal, and finds instead the thing that has been waiting. Far below the reach of sunlight, the deep-sea anglerfish carries her own small lantern, a fishing rod grown from her forehead, glowing faintly in the pressing black of the abyss. That light is a promise she never means to keep. Curious fish rise toward the little glow, mistaking it for food or warmth, and glide straight into the shadow of her jaws. Bacteria living inside the lure make the glow, a shared arrangement humming with cold blue light. The trap is alive within a trap, waiting in still water where meals are rare. Rise now into a warm forest, where a mantis waits on a stem, colored like petals, its legs widened into soft pink lobes that echo the shape of a bloom. This is the orchid mantis, and it does not simply hide among flowers. It becomes one, so convincing that visiting insects choose it over the real blossoms nearby. Bees and butterflies arrive seeking nectar, drawn by a shape and hue that whisper of sweetness. The waiting arms close around them, and the flower reveals its hunger. There is an odd grace in the deception, a lure built entirely to catch. What looks like an invitation to feed is instead the last approach a pollinator ever makes. On summer evenings, meadows fill with the slow blink of fireflies, each spark a message, a code of light spelling out a name across the darkening grass. Every species has its own rhythm, its own signature of flash and pause, so that a male drifting overhead can find a female of his kind answering below. But among these lights lives a mimic. Certain female fireflies have learned to counterfeit the answering flash of a different species, tuning their glow to a stranger's song. A hopeful male descends, reading her light as welcome from one of his own. He lands beside a predator wearing his sweetheart's code, and the meal begins. These false signaling fireflies are sometimes called femmes fatales, and the name fits, for they turn the language of courtship into an invitation to be eaten. What unites the anglerfish, the mantis, and the glowing meadow trickster is a single quiet idea: turn attraction itself into the snare and let the prey come willingly. It is a reminder that a signal can lie in a world where creatures trust a light, a shape, a flash. Some have learned to borrow that trust and spend it. Yet there is no cruelty in it, only the old arithmetic of survival, each disguise honed across countless generations until the harmless mask fits the hunter without a seam. So let these gentle deceivers fade back into water and leaf and dusk, their lures dimming as the night settles, and let your own thoughts loosen toward rest. Somewhere in the leaf litter, a small creature has stopped moving entirely. It has settled into this exact spot, and now it simply waits, folded into the pattern of the ground. You would walk right past it. Its edges dissolve into bark and shadow, and even a careful eye slides over the place where it rests, finding nothing to fix upon. The world keeps moving around it, uninterrupted. Wind turns the leaves, a beetle crosses a twig, and the hidden one holds its shape without the smallest tremor. There is a kind of safety in becoming nothing to notice. To be overlooked is to be spared, and so it stays wrapped in the plain fact of the background. Its breathing has slowed to almost nothing you could see. The rise and fall is so faint that the stillness seems complete, a held pause stretched thin across the minutes. Above, a shadow passes and moves on, incurious. The searching eye that swept this branch found only leaf and grain, and never guessed a living thing was watching back. Time loosens here. There is no hurry in waiting when waiting is the whole of the work, and the creature has all the evening to spend on doing nothing. Light shifts by slow degrees across the ground. What was bright grows amber, then dim, and through every change the hidden shape keeps faith with its patch of stillness. Nothing asks anything of it. No decision waits, no path calls, only this single task of remaining unseen, which it performs by simply continuing to be where it is. A small sound arrives from somewhere near, then fades. The creature does not startle. It has learned that most things pass, and passing is exactly what it hopes for. You can feel watching how restful such hiddenness must be. To be safe is to be able to rest, and rest is what this stillness quietly becomes. The pattern on its back matches the world so well that it has, in a sense, joined it, borrowing the calm of stone and moss until it belongs to them. Somewhere a held breath waits inside all this, not fear exactly, but readiness kept loose and easy, a poised quiet that could last the whole long night through. Around it, the ordinary business of dusk unfolds. Creatures come and go on their errands, none of them aware they are sharing the moment with someone perfectly concealed. There is nothing to reveal yet, and no reason to. The moment before anything happens can stretch as far as it likes, and this one seems in no rush to end. Stillness, it turns out, is a full thing, not an empty one. Inside it, the creature is entirely present, awake and unbothered, held in place by its own quiet stillness. Watching long enough, you begin to breathe the way it breathes, slowing to match the hush, letting your own edges soften into the same forgiving dark of the evening. So let the scene stay as it is, unhurried and unrevealed. The hidden one rests, the world drifts on unaware, and the pause holds gentle and complete a little longer. On a bare stretch of Indonesian seafloor, a slender octopus glides where there is little to hide behind, and yet somehow it manages to vanish into other creatures entirely. This is the mimic octopus, a small brown and white animal with a remarkable trick. Rather than matching the sand, it borrows the shape and manner of things far more dangerous than itself. When a threat approaches, it does not simply freeze or flee. Instead of fleeing, it may shift its shape toward whichever fearsome creature seems likeliest to send that particular hunter away. Watch it flatten its body into a long, leaf-thin ribbon, drawing its arms close and rippling along the bottom exactly as a flatfish, the banded sole would swim. The disguise is more than color. It is posture, motion, the whole way a body moves through water, and the octopus reproduces all of it in a single fluid moment. Should a different threat arise, it may become a lionfish instead, spreading its 8 arms wide like venomous spines and hovering with the slow menace of that spiny warning creature. There is a third performance in its repertoire. It can tuck 6 arms away inside its den and wave the remaining two apart, a striped sea snake reaching from the sand. Each of these models shares something useful. They are animals a predator has learned to avoid, carrying toxins or spines that make an easy meal suddenly not worth the risk. What makes this creature so extraordinary is choice. It is not locked into one costume, but seems to select the right impersonation for whatever hunter has come too near. Scientists who have studied it in the wild describe perhaps the most versatile impersonator known anywhere among animals, a single body holding a small troop of borrowed lives. The transformation costs almost nothing you can see. No armor is grown, no weapon readied, only a shift of skin and shape, and the deception is complete. Its skin carries countless tiny color cells that expand and contract, and beneath them muscle and posture do the rest, turning soft flesh into a convincing stranger. Think of the composure this requires to sit exposed on open sand and answer danger not with panic, but with a considered, well-rehearsed pretense of being something else. Every performance rests on memory of a kind, on the shapes of creatures the octopus somehow knows to imitate, though how deeply it understands them remains a lovely open question. The sea around it is full of animals that survive by being unremarkable, and here is one that survives instead by becoming, briefly, the most alarming thing in view. When the threat drifts away satisfied, the borrowed shape dissolves. The ribbon loosens, the spines fold, and an ordinary mottled octopus continues on across the quiet floor. There is a strange peace in a creature so unbothered by exposure, so sure of its many selves that open water holds no terror it cannot simply outperform. So let the impersonator settle now into the hush of deep water, its costumes all put away, resting easy in the knowledge that whatever comes, it will know just who to be. Long before a creature can run or fly, it is already learning to disappear. For many animals, the very first defense is simply to go unseen among the ordinary things of the world. Consider the plover who lays her eggs on open ground with no burrow and no shelter. Each shell is speckled and blotched, a small painting made to match the scattered pebbles around it. Those markings are no accident of beauty. They break the smooth outline an egg would otherwise show, scattering its shape into the stones so a passing eye slides across without ever pausing. The nightjar chooses leaf litter for her clutch, and her eggs wear the mottled browns and grays of fallen bark, settling into the woodland floor as though they had always belonged there. When she herself sits upon the nest, something remarkable happens. Her feathers carry the same dappled pattern, and the bird becomes to any glance a broken piece of weathered wood. She holds this pose through daylight, eyes narrowed to slits, trusting that stillness completes the disguise. A moving shape draws notice, but a shape that does not stir reads as forest itself. This is a different bargain than fleeing. To flee is to announce your presence. To remain is to wager everything on not being noticed, letting the surroundings finish the work of concealment. Young animals inherit the same wisdom. A newborn fawn wears a coat scattered with pale spots, each one a small pool of light like sun falling through leaves onto the ground. Against the dappled floor of a woodland edge, those spots dissolve the fawn's body into shifting patches of shade and glow until the outline of a young deer simply melts away. The fawn does not follow its mother everywhere in these first days. Instead, it folds its legs beneath itself and lies pressed low, becoming a still curve among the grasses. Left alone for hours, the young one neither cries nor flees when danger nears. It leans on its markings on the plain fact that a thing unseen is a thing untouched. Many ground-nesting chicks carry the same gift, hatched already wearing streaks and flecks that echo the reeds, the sand, or the shingle where they first open their eyes. Their instinct is to freeze at a parent's warning call, dropping flat where they stand. In an instant, a scattering of young becomes only more texture across the ground. There is a tenderness in this that safety is woven into a creature before it can understand danger at all, stitched into shell and feather and the pattern of a spotted flank. The parents, too, play their part, choosing where to lay with care, selecting the pebbled shore or the shaded hollow whose colors will lend the eggs their borrowed cloak. So the art of hiding begins earlier than we might imagine, not as a skill to be practiced, but as a birthright, painted on before the first true breath is drawn. Across meadows and forests and quiet shores tonight, countless small lives rest exactly this way, unmoving and unseen, held safe by nothing more than how well they match the world. And perhaps there's comfort in knowing the world is full of such careful stillness, of eggs and sleeping fawns waiting out the night, resting as you now begin to rest. Not every animal can vanish by staying put. Some must run, must travel, must cross open ground in daylight, and so they carry a different kind of concealment with them as they go. A pattern that hides a resting body can do something stranger once that body begins to move. It stops trying to disappear, and instead it starts to bewilder the eye that follows. Picture a zebra, bold in black and white, standing where earthy browns might have served it better. Its stripes seem to announce it rather than conceal it, and this long puzzled the people who watched. The answer may lie less in stillness than in motion. When a striped animal runs, those high contrast bands ripple and cross the eye, and something about speed and edge becomes surprisingly hard to read. Scientists call this idea motion dazzle. The markings do not blend the body into its surroundings. They confuse the way a watching brain measures how fast that body travels and where its true outline lies. Now gather the zebras into a herd, flanks nearly touching, and the effect deepens. Stripe meets stripe, and it grows difficult to tell where one animal ends and the next begins. For a predator judging a single throat to seize, that blur might well be a problem. The mind reaches for one clear target and finds instead a shifting field of lines that will not hold their shape. There is another watcher too, smaller and closer. Biting flies, drawn to warm hides, seem oddly reluctant to land on stripes, as though the pattern unsettles their approach in flight. Careful experiments have tested this, coating models in stripes and plain coats alike. Time after time, the horseflies tend to veer off from the striped surfaces, misjudging the moment to settle upon them. So one pattern may do two kinds of work at once, troubling the great hunting eye of the lion and the tiny landing sense of the fly that would draw blood. Nothing here demands invisibility. The zebra is plainly seen, standing in full view, yet the information a hunter needs, the speed, the distance the single body arrives scrambled and unsure. It is a reminder that hiding is not always about being unseen. Sometimes it is about being seen wrongly, offered to the eye in a form it cannot quite trust. This trick did not stay among the animals alone. In the years of the World Wars, human beings borrowed the same principle and carried it out onto the wide exposed sea. Warships were painted in bold, clashing shapes, sharp angles and contrasting bands that made no attempt to match the water. The idea was never to conceal the ship at all. Called dazzle camouflage, these patterns aimed to confuse a distant gunner peering through a periscope, muddling his read of the vessel's heading, its length, and the speed at which it slipped along. A torpedo had to be aimed not where a ship was, but where it would be, break the eye's grasp of course and pace, and that difficult calculation grows more difficult still. Whether on a painted hull or a running flank, the logic rhymes across water and grassland. Let the shape be seen, and let the seeing itself become uncertain and slow to resolve. So the world holds this second art of hiding, worn openly, moving in plain light. Rest now with the thought of it, a body that runs and dazzles and lets the tired eye lose its hold. Not all hiding is meant for the eye. Out in the dark of a forest floor, some creatures learn to disappear from the nose, the ear, the whole listening world around them. Consider the caterpillar that slips into an ant colony. It carries a chemical costume wearing the very scent the ants use to know their own, so it passes among them unquestioned. To an ant, the world is written mostly in smell. Recognition is a matter of chemistry, and this small intruder has learned to forge that chemistry with quiet precision. Coated in a borrowed fragrance, the caterpillar is fed and tended as though it belonged. The workers carry it inward, never sensing the stranger cradled in their care. This is camouflage for the sense of smell, a disguise made of molecules rather than color. Where the eye finds nothing to catch it, the nose is fooled just as completely. Now lift your attention into the night air, where a different sense rules. Here hunting bats paint the darkness with sound, sending out cries and reading the echoes that return. A bat's call sketches the shape of a moth in flight, a living map drawn in pulses of sound too high for us to hear. Few insects escape such careful listening. Yet certain moths have answered sound with sound. As a bat closes in, they release rapid clicks of their own, a torrent that muddles the returning echoes. These clicks scramble the sonar mid-hunt, blurring the picture the bat had formed. For a crucial moment, the moth becomes a smear of noise instead of a meal. It is a hiding built from interference, vanishing not into shadow but into confusion, dissolving the very signal that would betray a fluttering body. Elsewhere in that same darkness moves a hunter who has mastered the opposite art. The owl does not jam sound, it simply refuses to make any. Look closely at an owl's feathers and you find a comb of fine fringes along each leading edge and a velvet softness across the surface that swallows sound. These fringes break the rush of air into countless tiny currents, smoothing the turbulence that would otherwise hiss and roar behind an ordinary wing. So the owl flies in near silence, a shadow that arrives without warning. To the mouse below there is no whisper of wings, no hint of the descent. Here the hider and the hunted trade places, The owl conceals itself not from watching eyes but from listening ears, folding its approach into the hush of the night. Think of how many worlds overlap in one dark meadow, each species tuned to its own sense, each vulnerable through the channel it trusts the most. And in each of those channels, some creature has found a way to slip through unnoticed, forging a scent, blurring a sound, or muting the air itself. So the unseen extends far past sight into scent and echo and the faintest stir of air, a hidden world settling around you now as you ease toward rest. On a shadowed reef, a small crab moves without hurry, and to the passing eye it looks like nothing more than a drifting scrap of the sea floor itself. This is the decorator crab, and its great trick is not to run away but to dress so thoroughly that no watcher thinks to look at it twice. Along its shell rise tiny curved hooks, natural little clasps shaped almost like the loops of a burr, each one waiting to hold whatever the crab presses into place. With careful claws, it gathers a fragment of seaweed, tears it to a fitting size, and presses it against those hooks until the piece catches and holds fast. Piece by piece, the costume grows, sponge beside algae, beside a flake of coral debris, every scrap of it borrowed from the very reef the crab most wishes to resemble. The crab chooses its wardrobe from its own neighborhood, so a creature from a red weed thicket wears red, and one from a sandy hollow wears the muted tones of sand. Nothing about the disguise is painted or grown from within. Every scrap is a real living or once living thing, fastened on and carried like a coat of found treasures. Because the pieces come from home, the crab dissolves into its background, becoming a walking corner of reef that a hunting fish simply reads as a little more reef. Should the crab wander to a different patch of seabed, it can pause, unhook the old adornments, and refit itself in fresh colors that suit the new and unfamiliar ground. Some of the sponges it borrows do not wither once attached. They take hold and keep on living, feeding and spreading across the shell as though it were solid stone. So the crab becomes a moving garden, a small living plot of sponge and weed that breathes and grows even while its unhurried foundation walks slowly among the corals. The living sponges offer more than color, for many of them taste bitter or bristle with tiny defenses, quietly persuading hungry predators to seek an easier meal somewhere else. In this way, the crab and its sponge strike a kind of gentle bargain, the crab lending a mobile home and the sponge lending its unappetizing, camouflaging living body. Watch closely, and the whole shape seems to sprout leaves and waving fronds, an animal so deeply buried in decoration that its own outline all but disappears from sight. When the crab holds still against the reef, its borrowed garden settles into the surrounding growth, and the boundary between the creature and the coral seems to melt away. Even as it molts and sheds its outgrown shell, the crab remembers its old craft, tenderly transferring the choicest pieces onto the pale new armor it has only just grown. Something restful lives in a defense built from patience rather than speed, a safety woven slowly and steadily out of the plain ordinary things that lie all around. So the little gardener wanders on beneath the tide, wrapped in a costume that grows greener as it goes, carrying its quiet hiding place softly into the dark waters ahead. Every creature that learns to vanish teaches something to the one that hunts it, and in that endless lesson the eye grows sharper against the very tricks that once undid it. A moth may match the bark it rests upon, yet the bird returning each morning studies that bark until the moth's outline surfaces from the pattern like a word finally read. Predators do not simply look, they learn to look. With time, a hunter carries a remembered shape of its favorite prey, and that memory pulls the hidden thing gently into focus. This remembered shape is what biologists call a search image, a kind of tuned attention that lets a bird sift one familiar form from a forest of distracting leaves and shadow. Once a search image takes hold, camouflage that fooled 1,000 glances begins to fail, because the seeker is no longer scanning the world but searching it for one known silhouette. Some hunters see colors we cannot imagine. Where our eyes stop, theirs continue into ultraviolet, and a moth that seems to melt into lichen may glow against that unseen light. Many flowers, wings, and feathers carry ultraviolet markings invisible to us, and a bird tuned to that range reads a second, brighter world laid over the one we know. Against such vision, a disguise built for ordinary daylight can betray its wearer, since the surface that matches so well in our colors may blaze in another animal's sight. Other seekers are tuned less to color than to motion, their eyes built to catch the faintest tremor, the smallest shift of a limb that stillness was meant to conceal. For these hunters, to move even once is to be found, and so the hidden must hold themselves as if turned to stone, trusting the seeker's gaze to slide past unmoving things. Yet patience answers patience. A predator may wait and watch a single patch of ground, letting the pressure of stillness stretch until some small creature finally fatally twitches. Each improvement in hiding presses the hunter to improve in turn, and each sharpening of the hunter presses the hidden toward finer disguise, the two forever raising one another's craft. This back and forth has no ending. There is no perfect camouflage, only camouflage good enough for now, and no perfect eye, only an eye a little better than the last generation's. Over long spans of time, the contest carves both partners into marvels, prey that seem to dissolve into their backgrounds, and seekers whose senses reach far beyond our own. Neither side truly wins, and that is the strange grace of it. Every clever vanishing sows the seed of a keener glance, which in turn rewards a cleverer vanishing. So the unseen and the one who seeks it are not enemies alone, but sculptors, each shaping the other across generations neither will ever meet, refining a puzzle nobody ever finishes. Think of it as a long conversation held in glances and disappearances, question and answer traded so slowly that a single reply may take 1,000 lifetimes to arrive. And so the trick and the eye that sees through it turn together still tonight, somewhere beneath the leaves, refining each other while you settle in and let the watching go. Camouflage is never finished, only sharpened. Across millions of years, the hungry eyes of predators slowly refine every hidden creature toward a disguise that grows more convincing with each passing age. The keener a hunter's vision, the more perfect the concealed must become. A predator that sees a little better presses its prey across the generations to hide a little more completely. This is a chase measured not in heartbeats but in ages. As the seekers grow more discerning, the sought grow more invisible, each answering the other in a rhythm no single lifetime could ever witness. Should the hunters lose their sharpness, the pressure eases. Prey no longer needs so flawless a costume, and its disguise may fade a little, loosening as the danger it once answered softens too. Every eye that fails to spot the hidden lets that creature live and pass along whatever made it hard to find. Over time, unseen is inherited, refined by all the searching gazes it survived. The predator's failures write the prey's future. Each missed meal is a lesson etched into the next generation of the hunted, teaching them without words exactly how to vanish from a watching eye. There is no finish line to this contest. Perfection would end it, yet perfection never quite arrives, for as one side approaches it, the other shifts and the long pursuit begins again. Consider how a hidden body comes to match its surroundings, shade by shade, generation by generation, until the creature and the place it rests upon seem cut from the same weathered material. The seers and the seen are bound together, each shaping the other. A hunter's eyes and its quarry's disguise are two halves of one slow conversation, spoken across an unimaginable stretch of time. Nothing here is designed in a moment. The disguise you might admire is the accumulated answer to countless generations of eyes, each one a small test that the hidden either passed or did not. Even the ground beneath old forests remembers this game. Locked in stone, we find insects shaped like leaves that fell from trees no longer growing anywhere upon the living earth. These fossils carry ancient camouflage into the present. A creature that mimicked the foliage of a vanished woodland is preserved mid-disguise, still pretending, long after the forest it copied turned to dust. Imagine an insect that grew to resemble a particular leaf, only for that leaf's entire lineage to disappear, leaving behind a mimic whose original has been gone for tens of millions of years. The arms race then leaves a record. Camouflage is not only a living strategy, but a fossilized one, printed into rock, a snapshot of eyes and hiding locked forever in mid-pursuit. What strikes you is the sheer depth of it. The disguises around us today rest atop an ancestry of hidden things, reaching back through forests and seas we will never see. Each hidden creature is, in a sense, a portrait of its enemies. To read a disguise closely is to glimpse the hunters that shaped it, present in the very shape of their prey. So the endless refinement continues around you, unhurried and unseen, hunters honing their sight, while the hunted perfect their absence, neither ever winning, both forever leaning toward the other. Rest now inside that long, unfinished chase, knowing it needs nothing from you tonight. It carried on before you woke, and will keep turning, ceaseless and unseen, as you let yourself sink toward sleep. For the ambush hunter, camouflage is only the beginning of the craft. A perfect disguise means nothing if the body beneath it cannot learn to hold utterly still. The leaf-tailed gecko presses itself against bark, its flattened edges melting into the wood. What keeps it hidden is not only its shape, but its refusal to move. Stillness is the second half of the art. A creature may look exactly like a leaf, yet the smallest twitch will betray it to sharp and searching eyes. Consider the flower mantis, folded among petals, its pale limbs mimicking the shape of blossoms. It waits there as if it too had simply grown from the stem. An insect approaches, drawn to what it believes is a flower. The mantis does not rush. It lets the visitor come closer, trusting the disguise to do its work. The weight itself becomes the weapon. Time, which feels heavy and slow to us, is simply the medium in which these hunters practice their extraordinary composure and resolve. At the water's edge, a crocodile lies with only its eyes above the surface, resembling a floating log. It can remain in that pose far longer than we might imagine. To move too soon is to break the spell entirely. The moment a hidden shape shifts, the eye that was fooled suddenly understands, and the meal slips away. So these hunters have learned the art of restraint as deeply as any feature of their physical form. Their bodies are built for waiting, their nerves tuned to the discipline of doing nothing. The gecko may cling to the very same trunk through the long hours of daylight until dusk, entirely unmoving, letting the forest forget that it is even there among the leaves. A mantis can hold its raptorial arms cocked and ready, poised without the slightest tremble, while the whole day passes and unwary insects wander near its convincing floral disguise. Something almost meditative lives in this kind of waiting. The predator surrenders itself to the pause, becoming for a while indistinguishable from the branch or bloom on which it rests. The crocodile times nothing by any clock. It reads the water and the shore instead, holding its stillness steadily until some thirsty animal at the bank finally leans down to drink. Only then, in a single unhurried decision, does the long wait finally end. Everything the hunter withheld across those hours is spent at once, in one swift and committed movement. What looks to us like idleness is in truth a form of intense attention. Beneath that motionless surface, the hunter is watching, measuring, and waiting for the one right moment to arrive. This is precisely why the disguise and the stillness must work together as one. Neither is enough alone. The shape hides the body, and the stillness keeps that borrowed shape believable. In the end, the ambush belongs to whichever creature can outlast its own impatience. The reward goes not to the fastest, but to the one willing to wait. So the hidden ones settle deeper into their waiting, breathing slow beneath the leaves and along the water, holding their peace as the evening closes gently around them. Not every creature that hides chooses to vanish. Some do the opposite, sitting in full view while pretending to be an object no hungry eye would ever bother to examine. This is masquerade, the art of resembling something dull. A predator glances over the leaf, the twig, the smear of white, and moves on, finding nothing there worth a second thought. Consider a young caterpillar resting along a stem in daylight. To your eye it seems ordinary, yet its whole disguise depends on looking like the least appetizing thing imaginable. It has come to resemble a bird dropping, glossy and mottled, folded into a lopsided shape. It wears the very mess that birds themselves would never think to eat. A bird passing above sees only its own leavings. There is no fleeing, no clever burrow, only the trick of being something too uninteresting to warrant a closer look. The illusion works because it is so unglamorous. Beauty draws attention, but a splash of white on a leaf invites none, and in that dullness lies real safety. As some caterpillars grow, they abandon the dropping disguise. Larger now, they shift to mimicking a broken twig, holding rigid at an angle no living thing usually keeps. Such a caterpillar can grip its stem and lean outward, motionless for hours, a small brown length of wood that the wind might snap, but a bird will not. Stillness is the heart of it. Movement betrays life, so these masqueraders hold themselves utterly steady, letting the eye slide past them the way it slides past bark. Elsewhere in the forest, a butterfly closes its wings and simply disappears into a fallen leaf, though it has not moved from where it settled to rest. This is the dead leaf butterfly, whose folded underwings mimic a withered leaf so precisely that even the shape of the tip and stalk seem drawn by autumn itself. Run your gaze along those closed wings and you find a fake midrib, a dark line crossing them like the central vein of a genuine drying leaf. Fine markings branch from that false vein, echoing the smaller ribs of a leaf, and mottled patches suggest the blotches of decay that no creature bothers to taste. Should it open its wings, sudden color flashes into view, brilliant and unmistakable. Closed again, that brightness vanishes and only a scrap of dead foliage remains. Some wisdom lives in choosing to look worthless. The masquerader does not race or fight. It survives by offering the world nothing it wants. Think of how much of the living forest is disguised this way, ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in intent, hidden not by shadow, but by seeming plain. To hide in plain sight is to trust the eye's own habits, knowing that a watcher looks straight through the uninteresting and remembers nothing of what it saw. So the twig holds its pose, the false leaf waits among the true, and the whole quiet masquerade goes on, unnoticed and unbroken, as you ease toward rest. Even now, as you settle into stillness, the living world around you is folding itself out of sight, tucking into bark and shadow, resting where no eye happens to fall. Beneath the leaf litter at the forest floor, countless small creatures are curled and unbothered, hidden by nothing more elaborate than a scatter of fallen leaves. On a distant reef, a fish the color of coral holds motionless against its background, unseen by the currents passing over it, safe in plain view. Under a blanket of snow, a hare has turned white to match the season, and the whole white world simply keeps it unremarked and undisturbed. There is an old comfort woven into blending in, a wordless understanding that to be overlooked is often to be left in peace. A moth pressed flat against a tree becomes the tree, its wings borrowing the grain, and it waits out the daylight as if it were a knot of wood. Somewhere a spider rests in a fold of leaf, matching the green so closely that even the birds who hunt her read only foliage. The world holds an enormous quiet population of the unseen, each one resting exactly where it belongs, asking nothing of the eyes that pass by. To go unnoticed is not to be lonely. It is a kind of shelter, a stillness that lets a small life continue undisturbed through the long hours. In tide pools left behind by the sea, creatures the shade of wet stone lie against the rock, and the searching gull finds only rock. Think of how many are hidden as you breathe, in hollows and crevices, in mud and moss, each safely mistaken for the place it hides within. There is a peace in being part of the background, in letting the world read you as bark, as sand, as the ordinary surface of things. A fawn folds its legs beneath it in tall grass and lies without moving, its dappled coat dissolving into the flicker of light and leaf. The unseen do not strive to disappear. They simply match what surrounds them, and the matching becomes a form of rest all its own. Across the whole sleeping earth, this vast concealment is happening at once, a countless multitude resting where the looking eye slides past and moves on. To be safely overlooked is an inheritance older than memory, a gift passed from creature to creature, the plain comfort of not being found. Somewhere close, something is resting perfectly hidden, breathing slow, wanting nothing, content to be exactly as unnoticed as the world will let it be. So let the unseen keep their peace, and let yourself sink into that same soft anonymity, holding still, held safe, easing toward the deep quiet of sleep. As this long night finally settles around you, remember that the world outside is full of creatures resting where no eye can find them, folded into a stillness that keeps them whole. Somewhere close by, a moth rests against bark it perfectly matches, its wings tracing the grain of the tree, unnoticed and therefore untroubled until the first gray light of morning. A tree frog has tucked itself against a broad leaf, its limbs drawn close and its green skin dissolving into the green around it, hidden so well that even hunger simply passes it by. Down in the leaf litter, a small toad has half buried its body, only its patterned back left showing, made indistinguishable from the fallen shapes that shelter and surround it. Beneath the moving surf, an octopus has taken on the exact color of the rock it rests upon, breathing slowly in the dark, invisible to every creature that swims above it. In tall grass, a fawn has folded itself down, its coat freckled like scattered sunlight, and its very refusal to stir is the quiet thing that keeps it out of harm tonight. Countless insects sleep pressed into the ridges of stems, their bodies shaped like thorns or curling bark, so ordinary in appearance that passing danger overlooks them entirely and moves on. Across the fields, ground-nesting birds sit low over their eggs, feathers streaked to match the bare earth, trusting their own stillness the way you might trust a door easing closed behind you. There is a genuine tenderness in being unfindable, and countless small lives are wrapped in exactly that peace this evening, made secure inside their own gentle disappearance. Notice how none of these creatures strain or struggle to stay concealed. They belong to their surroundings so fully that searching for them becomes the same as searching the empty background. The stick insect need not run or flee anywhere, for it has already become the twig itself, and a twig holds no interest at all for anything that hunts a living meal. Even the flounder resting on the seafloor has settled deep into the sand, dusting its own edges with fine grains until the line between the animal and the ground can no longer be traced. Let that very same feeling begin to reach toward you now, this sense of resting somewhere that holds you completely without asking anything of you, unbothered and pleasantly unseen. Imagine yourself blended into the darkness of the room the way these creatures blend into bark and leaf, fully present yet unfound, needing nothing more from the quiet hours ahead. You are as safe as all the hidden things, tucked warmly into your own small patch of night, while the wide world keeps moving past without ever once reaching in to disturb you. Everywhere at this hour, Unseen lives are breathing in the same unhurried rhythm as your own, each one secure inside its private stillness, and you belong easily among them tonight. Let the sharp edges of the day soften and fall away from you now, leaving behind only this settled quiet, this feeling of being held, this deep and untroubled sense of true shelter. Rest now, safe and unseen, and let sleep carry you gently onward into the dark and the calm. Good night, dear listener, from all of us here at the Circadian Institute.